Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our conference held from Lisbon, Portugal, isn't it, Tiago?
Well, actually from Lisbon and also from Alicante, Spain. So this is an Iberic experience, so I hope that we can reach you all in good conditions. I believe I'm sharing my screen now.
Yes, that's great, Tiago.
Perfect.
Let's do it. So we will talk about this important question. How does a client experience philosophical consultation? So let's do it. Well, my name is Jorge Humberto Dias. I have a doctorate in moral and political philosophy.
And my name is Tiago Pita. I hold a PhD in psychology.
Yes, we are professors at Atlântica University here in Portugal, and we work philosophical counseling, ethics, happiness, and education too.
Yes, we work, we provide training and also counseling and mentoring, not only to organizational institutions, but also to educational ones.
And we are researchers at a recent research project. We have created it on 2017. And the title is Perspectives on Happiness, Contributions to Portugal in the World Happiness Report from United Nations.
Okay, then, so let's, in this brief introduction, try to explain a little bit what was our reasoning to introduce to you all this topic. So we want to talk about this topic because usually in our work, as said before, we do training sessions, and one of our expertise is also philosophical counseling consultations. And therefore, we would always like to know which experience is the client having within the consultation process. So from the beginning, how come he decided to reach a practitioner, and also what kind of experience, feelings, and results he aiming and finally achieving.
Yes, that's it, and that's very important, not only for us here in Portugal, in Spain, but for all over the world. And why we decided to do this? We are researchers, as we said some seconds ago, and we are working now in a new project, the Happiness Lab, where we provide training and consulting for organizations. And we are currently developing a project on happy schools. So we decided to assess the philosophical counseling consultations. And we are very interested to learn more about the process. That's what we are going to talk about. Yes, we did a very interesting bibliographic revision. For example, we have here the names of the journals, the Thinking Journal, International Journal of Applied Philosophy, the Journal of Applied Philosophy, the Inquirer, Philosophy in the Contemporary World, International Journal of Philosophical Practice, the National Catholic Bioethics Quarterly, the Philosophical Practice Journal of the APPA, and finally, the International Journal of Applied Philosophy, AZER, from University of Seville. So we have here all the information. You can see with more attention later if you want, the organization and the name of the editor in the present moment, and the year of publication, of the first publication, in order, as you may see. Tiago,
Yes,
do you want to say something?
Yeah, so we researched on all these journals and we were looking for how many articles could we find on philosophical counseling, not only philosophical counseling, but the assessment or the evaluation on the results of that process. The search was very exhaustive, but we were not able to find a lot of results. Some were obviously identified, and we will, in our written paper, we will identify some in order to help us also to better understand the research that we are conducting.
Yes, and one important thing is about the topics of the articles. In our article, we will say something more about that, but it is important to understand that the most articles, they are interested to understand theoretical questions about paradigms or about themes of the consultation, for example, love, friendship, justice, death, and other topics. But we cannot find anyone about this topic we are interested today, which is the assessment of a philosophical consultation in the perspective of the client. So let's do it again.
Yeah, so in order to understand a little bit of where we at in Portugal, we also think it's important to discuss a little bit and identify a little bit some important milestones on philosophical counseling in Portugal. So in 2004, we had the first association called APAF. So an association created to gather all the philosophical practitioners, not only in some places in Portugal, but a national-wide association. In 2007, for instance, in that association organized several congresses, several workshops, and we would like to underline the one of 2007 because we received the visit of Professor Lou Marinoff from the United States, and it was a very public appearance, and it was a huge success. In 2008, the project Consultation, a company was created by Jorge himself, and in 2013 he finished his PhD on ethics. Obviously, and in a parallel way, he was also conducting some philosophical counseling consultations in Lisbon. So in 2021, so right now, we are happy to disclosure that we already start the process of starting again the post graduation. Let's call it this way, the post grad, as we say, in philosophical counseling in the Atlântica University in Lisbon.
Yes, and it is we have the complete name because we think it is important to show to the market what we will work. So we called philosophical counseling for people and organizations, just to show these two dimensions. We will work with people, with individuals, and in an organizational context. It is very, very important. But Tiago, let me remember your PhD too, the year and the topic, because it was on counseling too.
Yes, it was in 2015, and it was a study conducted also in Portugal on counseling with teenagers. So it was conducted in a high school, and it was conducted with 927 students to assess the level of, let's call it, mental health. And since it's psychology, a PhD in psychology, and then a way to, through counseling, reduce the negative symptoms as anxiety and depression, for instance, and to improve what we call the positive, for instance, relationships, and also self-trust, for instance. So
and
it was,
you used an important author, as I did. I used in my PhD the philosophical theory of Juli Marias, a Spanish philosopher, and I used that theory to fundament a philosophical counseling for happiness. And you used an important author too. I remember.
It was from Carl Rogers, so humanistic approach, so centered in the client, and so here we go. But so one of the important milestones that I was referring to was also the creation of the project method. So it was created in 2013, and it was not only important because it's a milestone in the Portuguese philosophical counseling history, but also the method used in this research. So I will give the floor to Jorge to explain a little bit in a very quick fashion, his own method.
Yes, it was on 2013 the presentation and the approval in the PhD on Nova University in Lisbon. But I created the method on 2006 in a book I wrote with the title "Think Well, Live Better: Philosophy Applied to Life." That was the first time I organized the method in a written way. So the method consists on 6 levels and can be applied to people and organizations. As you may see in the slide, the first level is to identify one's projects in life. And let me say an important thing. We have projects in life, it's true, but we are a project too, a human and a fundamental one. In the level 2, we will analyze the structure of a project. We will try to question the client to see the content of the project, the dimensions, probably the hierarchy of the projects, and so on. The next level is to relate the project with one's life, concerning the values and the meaning. We will try to identify the best questions to do this work, this kind of work. In the level 4, we will regroup the projects and define applications. This is the most pragmatic work in this method. On the level 5, number 5, we will reinforce one's life philosophy. This is an important concept. I remember one lecture from our colleague Ran Lav about this concept, the philosophy of life. Every people have a philosophy of life, so that's one fundament of our work and the philosophical counseling too. And at the end of this process, we will verify its reality and importance. And who knows, we can here stop the process. But if not, we will try again with another project, the level number 1, and so on.
So since the clients were working on this project and all this project method, and throughout all these 6 levels. So we initially our goal was to know and to understand a little bit more about the client's experience. We think that the feedback and evaluation, it's a very, very important topic, not only to get to know the flaws of the method, but also to improve the quality of that method themselves. So it was already presented, and in the written paper it will be more clear. So we use as a sample of beginning a small sample of 18 people, so 14 females, 4 males. The average age was 40.28. So the oldest person or participant was, or client, was 62 years old, and the youngest was 21 years old. So we produced 12 very simple questions, and the clients answered them through Google Forms. So we don't have the time to show all the 12 questions. We will, in the written paper, present all of them and all the results. So we would like only to underline 3 of them. So the first one, and we believe it's one of the most important ones, not only for the business-wise, but also to understand how we reached as philosophical practitioners. So so most of the clients arrived through Facebook. So it's very interesting that almost everyone reached, well, or was reached through the new technology, through internet, through Facebook, through email. So it's very important to be well connected.
Yeah.
And this,
the power
yes,
of social network.
Yes, and the Congress, this Congress is a very good example of this, the importance of this topic.
And the friends and colleagues too.
Yeah. So this is our first question. Then we will I will move you all to our question number 4. That was introduced in the questions as one of the most important ones, because as we do usually recommend or don't recommend services, so we think this is very important because it allows us as researchers to understand that 89% of the clients would recommend this service to or this practice to someone that they know, and no one, I mean 0%, would answer no, or actually answer no to this question. So this means that at least 89% of the people, the client that were involved in this process with Jorge, were happy in a sense that they would recommend that same service to a friend, for instance. And last question that we are referring here, it is: do you think that this philosophical consultation help you? Again, 0% with a no, a little percent with 6%. A little one, the answer little, a lot 22, and 72% yes. So that means that we could add the yes to the a lot and say that at least 94% of the people that participate in this inquiry, they were answering that this consultation really meant something, that it was helpful for them. In the written paper, we will obviously talk a little bit about what we call the discussion of this situation in 2 main points. The first one, the more formal one, For instance, if we have a sample that is bigger than 18, we are able to find some possibilities to study, and throughout the statistics, it will be easier also to find connections between some of the answers that we are getting. With only 18, that's not likely to be reached. We could also try to find a design, an experimental one, which would allow us through, for instance, a control group to understand what's the percentage and the quality of that percentage is the behavior or the answers changing from the test or the pre-test to the test. So it's also interesting from the formal point of view. Again, from the content, we could also discuss a little bit if these questions, the other ones also, could we reach a more deepened answer from them. So it's, I believe it's very interesting, not only to be able to use all this information to be used in the future sessions in the philosophical consultation. So it could be, we believe, a very useful tool to use to understand what happened, but also to allow the client and the practitioner to work towards a different session in the future. Sorry.
Let me say something more. I agree. In fact, we have here a lot of potential in this research because it allows to know if the work was well done and if the client-counselor relationship will eventually remain for other services, training, for example, because we have training too in our office, or consultation on other issues. I think it may be interesting to continue this research involving more people to increase, as Tiago said, the strength of the study. However, I think there was some difficulty in getting clients to complete this questionnaire. So we don't have a lot of people in this moment, but I think it is very important to continue this effort. A very interesting suggestion made by a client was the idea of creating a consultation pack and eventually at a lower price. Interestingly, I must say that the project company has already implemented this idea of the client with the creation of a pack of 10 consultations in which each consultation will cost not 50 euros per hour, but only 35 euros.
Well, so yes, so that's a very good example of what I was trying to say. For instance, by having the client's feedback, it's essential to improve the philosophical consultation. So having the feedback of the package where it allows Jorge to present a better service for his clients, which is very interesting. And also, as a conclusion, we think, as I referred, that a standard tool that we are now working on it, we believe that could give information before and after the consultation that could be very useful for both client and practitioner. And so we arrive to more or less in the future.
Yes. I think the future will involve creating a new tool we called Happy Fee. It may be interesting to think on new questions for this research questionnaire too. And we will try to connect in a more deep way the philosophical work and the psychological work. That's why, or that's what we call EPIPHY. We will talk about that a little bit more on our written article. But let me say something more. I think we must understand that our work will be more useful, not only for the clients but for us too. Just because this assessment take an important ideas for us. Let me say here an important example. If we have Facebook has the 50% of the communication way and another questions, for example, the friends and the colleagues, etc. So we must organize our marketing work in this way. And this is an important topic for the future. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. And so we will be obviously open to any questions that you may have for us. Most of these those questions we believe that are answered or could be answered by our written paper. But since we don't have it yet finished and published, so we will be more than welcome all the questions that you have, and we will be very happy to answer them all.
Yes, this is how we handled our communication. We hope you enjoy it. We would like to thank to the organization for the excellent work, and we are available now to your important questions because we want to organize a little better our research. Remember that this communication, it is only a brief summary of our research project, and it's totally available in the scientific written article we will publish in an indexed international journal very soon. Probably in Romania, but we don't know. We are not sure for now, but we will try to do it in Romania. So, Tiago.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and we will really are looking forward to have your questions.
Yes.
Bye bye then.
See you. Bye bye.